so these are the bolts going through the firewall. I got to pull the fuel line off and put longer bolts to make them studs on the other side. And I'm probably going to remake this bracket, have it come off the firewall a little bit more so there's room back here. We'll see how it comes out. I got my new L bracket to make for that, so I'm going to go ahead and pull the fuel line off and take that bracket off, figure out what hole size I need, put a hole in this, holes for the firewall, and put it back together. Alright, there's my old fuel line bracket and my new fuel line bracket. So I'm much happier with this. You can see how much farther out it's going to push the fuel line from the firewall. That'll get us the bolt heads to get on there much more easier than this one. Plus it's lighter. And alright, throw it back on. Alright, I got the elbow on here, got the bolts in here. I'm going to run these through the firewall. Then I'm going to run a lock washer and a nut on there on the back side. And then I'll use a second nut, or use the bolt as a stud basically, and then use a second nut to put ground wires and stuff. And then also had this homemade ground strap. So I had a better, heavier duty ground strap I bought. I'm going to go ahead and put that on now too. Alright, so I got my Mopar ground strap here, and yeah, it's seems pretty neat, pretty nice. And we'll go ahead and ground the engine to the firewall. I'm just going to turn the fuel pump on, make sure that it's not leaking. Everything looks okay. Cool.
But so anyway, I didn't get the gauge in. So that's where I'm at. So now I'm gonna go ahead and actually mount the gauge. And sorry, there was one more thing. So now it's like, where do I put this? I gotta power the thing, right? I was so happy it was pretty much done. I could start actually putting the gauge in, and then crap, I gotta put I don't want to have power to it all the time. I need to put a toggle switch on it, right? And even though my gauge is not, or my dash is not perfect, and I got a few holes in it, I really didn't want to drill any big holes for it, right? So I took the, this is where your temperature adjustments and stuff are. So I took this, and of course I dropped it and broke the boss on it that holds it in. So I had to JB weld that in, and then I just went ahead and took a plate and drilled 3 holes in it for switches, you know, and JB welded it to the back of it because it's just plastic. I thought about drilling it here and then putting some bolts through there, but I thought it would look tacky, so it looks way more tacky on this side, but you'll never see it. So finally got that. So now I can put a wire, or I can run wires to the switch and actually, you know, turn the power off. This is already hooked up to my sending unit. It's already going through the firewall. And go ahead and cut it. It's way longer than I need. Make sure this is going to go in here. To sender, S to sender. Where do I put my thumb? There it is. Make sure this goes on here first. Yep, pretty nice and easy. Check. Center. Okay. This one is going to be power. Alright, so what I'm going to end up doing, I'm going to get the power in here. I don't have any red wire. I do, but it's kind of thick gauge, so I need to go buy some more. I'm going to run this through here, make kind of like a harness, like zip tie these guys together. All this excess that's going to be back there, I'm going to loop it and zip tie it up. I want to leave it long because if I got to pull this out, I want to have the ability to pull it out and disconnect it. It drives me nuts. At work, this happens all the time. They'll make the wires just long enough to reach something, so when you pull it out like this, you can't hardly get your fingers in between there to unplug stuff. It drives me crazy. So we'll get some red wire and set up the power, and then this will be done finally. But not today. Ran out of time today. So like here, I put a connector on the white lead, which is to the light. So it's going to be power. I don't want to leave this open because then it's going to, you know, could touch metal and arc. So, but I wanted to put a connector in case I ever have to replace it. It's just easy. Just peel the tape off and then disconnect it. So I'm going to put electrical over it, over the connection, just so it doesn't touch metal and arc. In fact, I always put, like tape I'm going to remove again, put a little fold on the end to make my life easy. There you go. Alright, I found a screw under the dash that looks like it's original as far as being a ground. So that's cool. Or something was attached to it anyway. But I'm going to use it as a ground. So I've got my, this is my light. Went ahead and hooked up a male for the positive side and female for the negative side, just so they're different. I mean, it doesn't really matter which way you go on that. And then got another ground here to the gauge, so I made it the same length as the other ground wire, so I can run it just to the dash rather than going all the way around to the firewall and using up more wire. And man, if you don't have one of these things, get yourself one. These things are freaking awesome. It's basically a wire stripper. I got this one from Ace Hardware.
I should have paid attention when I paid for it. I could probably look it up and put it here, you know, put a little text on there or something. But look at how easy that is to strip that. Freaking awesome. Okay, so there's the terminal block. The top one is the for terminals, and then the bottom is for fuses to pop into, and connectors and stuff. So now I can run, you know, a switch to it, turn it on, and I can hook up the lights to the gauges there. You know, hook up anything that needs power. I got to put a tack in the car still. I'm gonna need power. I can run that. You know. Anything else I decide I need to put in the car that requires power, I'll be able to run it on a terminal block or a fuse. So anyway, that's that. Alright, now we'll test my oil pressure gauge. So I'll turn my power on. So my light comes on for the oil pressure gauge. That's freaking cool. That's cool. One less thing.